Welcome back. If you thought the 2026 season was going to be predictable, Acapulco just told us to hold its beer. We are witnessing absolute carnage at the Abierto Mexicano Telcel. In the last 48 hours alone, the world number one four and top seed Alexander Zverev has been sent packing by a player who hadn't beaten a top 5 opponent in 11 tries. We've seen Terence Atmane literally shaking and sweating from illness lose a quarterfinal on a penalty point because he couldn't stand up fast enough to return a serve. We've watched the legendary Gaël Monfils say an emotional tear filled goodbye to a crowd that has adored him for 2 decades, while standing next to Juan Martin del Potro. And in the middle of all this, Frances Tiafoe is saving match points and telling the world that rankings in modern tennis are officially meaningless. Today, we're breaking down the wins, the losses, the controversies that have the locker room buzzing, and the dark cloud of security concerns that almost cancelled this tournament before it even began. This is your ultimate guide to the madness in Acapulco. Let's dive in. Let's start with the result that shook the bracket to its core. Alexander Zverev came into Acapulco as the heavy favorite. He's a former champion here, he's ranked fourth in the world, and he was looking to assert dominance. But Miomir Kecmanović had other plans. Entering the match, the 26-year-old Serbian was ranked 84th and held a dismal 0 to 11 record against top 5 players. Think about that. 11 times he had stepped on court with the elite, and 11 times he had walked off the loser. But Wednesday night was different. Kecmanović pulled off a 6-3, 6-7, 7-6 stunner. How did he do it? It wasn't just luck, it was a tactical masterclass. Kecmanović recognized that Zverev was standing incredibly deep on his returns. By staying aggressive and serving far above his usual standards, the Serbian was able to open up the court and force Zverev in uncomfortable positions. The stats tell a story of a breakdown for the German star. Zverev's usually reliable two-handed backhand completely deserted him, racking up 17 unforced errors on that side compared to just 6 from Kecmanović. After the match, a visibly relieved Kecmanović admitted that it's been a rough couple of years, and he was just happy things were finally going his way. For Zverev, the singles dream is dead, though he is ironically still alive in the doubles draw with Marcelo Melo, chasing his first doubles title since 2019. But in singles, the top seed is out, and the draw is wide open. Now we have to talk about the most controversial moment of the tournament, and maybe the year. Terence Atman's quarterfinal against Kecmanović didn't end with a winner or an unforced error. It ended with a fatal penalty. Atman has been the breakout star of this event, but during his match with Kecmanović, he was clearly in physical distress. He called for the trainer, telling him, "I'm sick, I'm trembling and sweating a lot." You could see it in his eyes. The man was running on empty. It reached a breaking point on match point. Atman was so weakened by illness that he was slow to get into his return position to face Kecmanovic's serve. Instead of showing leniency for a player in medical crisis, the chair umpire followed the letter of the law and hit him with penalty point. Because it was match point, that penalty ended the match instantly. The tennis world is divided on this. On one hand, the rules regarding time are clear. On the other, seeing a player who has fought through the qualifiers and moved up 10 spots in the live rankings go out like that, it's a nightmare finish. Atman leaves Acapulco with a higher ranking and a lot of new fans, but the way that match ended will be talked about in the referee lounges for a long time. While the youngsters are fighting for points, a legend is taking his final bow. Gaël Monfils confirmed that 2026 is his farewell season, and Acapulco made sure he felt the love. Monfils actually managed to pick up his first win of the season in the opening round against Damir Zumur, proving that 39-year-old still has that magic. But the physical toll of the tour is real. He eventually fell to Valentin Vechurot in straight sets, 6-3, 6-3. What happened after the match, though, was pure cinema. The tournament organizers held a ceremony for Monfils, and none other than Juan Martin del Potro was there, courtside to honor him. These two shared a beautiful moment. Monfils looked at del Potro and said, "We had big battles. He's a big champion. It means a lot that you are here." Even his opponent, Vachurit, was gushing after the match. He said the memory he'll keep of Monfils is that he always fought. Even when he wasn't playing well, he was still sliding, jumping, and putting one more ball in play. It's the end of an era for French tennis as Monfils prepares to hang up the rackets with over 580 career wins. If you're a tennis fan, you have to cherish these last few months of La Monf. Let's look at the bottom half of the draw, where it is becoming an all American party. Frances Tiafoe is playing with his back against the wall, and honestly, that's when he's most dangerous. In his match against Alexander Kovacevic, Big Four was down and out. He trailed 4-6 in the deciding set tiebreak, meaning he had to save two match points just to stay in the tournament. He didn't just save them, he delivered what's being called a gutsy finale to win 7-6 in a late night thriller. But it's what TFO said after the match that is trending. He gave a blunt, honest take on the current state of the ATP Tour, saying that rankings mean nothing anymore because the parity is so brutal. He's basically saying that on any given night, the world number 80 can play like the world number 5, and we are seeing that play out in real time this week. Tiafoe now moves into an All American semifinal against Brandon Nakashima. Nakashima is having a career week himself. He ousted Patrick Gibson to earn his 100th tour level hardcourt win, a massive milestone for the young American. Nakashima is looking incredibly clinical, having handled Valentin Vachurit in the quarters despite losing the first set. It's going to be a battle of Tiafoe's flair versus Nakashima's discipline. We have to address the elephant in the room. This tournament almost didn't happen. Outside the lines of the GNP Seguros Arena, the country has been in turmoil following the death of a powerful drug cartel leader. There were serious discussions among ATP officials about canceling the event last weekend due to safety concerns. The tournament eventually decided to move forward, but with bumped up security and palpable tension in the air. It's a reminder that while these athletes are playing for trophies, there is a very real world happening outside those stadium walls. And speaking of tension, there's a funny bit of news coming out of the WTA side in Austin that fans are loving. They've actually unveiled a rage room for players to go and vent their frustrations in private. Given the upsets we've seen in Acapulco, I think Zverev and Atman might have wished there was one of those in Mexico this week. So where do we go from here? The semifinals are set and they are fascinating. In the top half, we have the giant killer Miomir Kecmanović taking on Flavio Caboli. Caboli has been a silent assassin this week. In his quarterfinal against Yibing Wu, he won 86% of his first serve points and didn't drop a single service game, saving all six break points he faced. If Kecmanović can't find a way to break that serve, his dream run might end here. In the bottom half, it's the clash of the Americans. Tiafoe versus Nakashima. Tiafoe has the experience and the crowd pleasing energy, but Nakashima is playing the most consistent tennis of his life. My prediction, if Tiafoe can keep the points short and use the crowd, he takes it. But if Nakashima drags him into long physical rallies, Brandon's 101st hardcourt win might be his ticket to the final. Acapulco 2026 has given us everything: the heartbreak of Atman, the legend of Monfils, the fall of Zverev, and the rise of the underdogs. It's a revolving group of players every week, as some fans have noted, and the unfair play of the rankings is being exposed. What do you think? Was the umpire too harsh on Atman? Is Kecmanović the new favorite to take the title? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into tennis tournaments.